Sometimes I feel like the members of Donald Trump's cabinet spend their time walking around looking for rakes to step on. And that is exactly what Kash Patel and Dan Bongino just did in a new interview with the Fox propaganda outlet, in which they brought up one of the worst promises that Donald Trump has broken in MAGA's eyes, and are now feeling their fury, and so is their boss because of it. We're going to get into it all and how bad this is for Donald Trump on one of the issues he wants to talk about the least, which is the Jeffrey Epstein files. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into what Kash Patel said and the freak out that MAGA is having at Donald Trump for this new information, I want to start with a little bit of context, a little bit of backstory, and we get that from Chris Hayes right here.
Donald Trump, and take it with a grain of salt, has promised full transparency when it comes to most of the big conspiracy theories of the past 60 years, something he campaigned on in the lead up to the election. The issue led to an absolutely Hall of Fame interview clip.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
Yep, Epstein. Sure about that? Maybe not Epstein. I wonder why Donald Trump wouldn't want the Epstein files being made public. I mean, here he is in 1992 dancing and leering at women with his buddy Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. In 2002, Donald Trump said Jeffrey Epstein is, and I quote him here, a terrific guy. It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. I wonder why Donald Trump wouldn't want the Epstein files being made public. Thing is, many members of Trump's base do. The Republican House Oversight Committee sent multiple letters to Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding the Epstein files be released. Bondi then went on an apology tour to Fox News, promising the documents would be released imminently. Today, the White House made a big show of handing a bunch of conservative influencers binders labeled the Epstein Files, Phase 1. But the whole stunt was a bust.
What's interesting is we're all waiting for bombshells, we're all waiting for juicy stuff, and that's not what's in this binder. That's not what's in this binder at all.
It is the biggest disappointment I think that you'll find. I encourage you to do your own homework on this. It's mostly procedural jargon, Glenn, heavily redacted.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, the Florida Republican leading this charge, said of the binders, all caps, "This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment."
So MAGA is clearly not happy that Donald Trump hasn't delivered on his promises. You would think that it would be the promise to maybe end the war in Ukraine, bring down prices of anything at all. Maybe that's what they would be upset about. But no, it's the Epstein files, which sure is something that you should be upset with Donald Trump about. But there has actually been some real pressure from MAGA influencers calling out the administration for this. We saw Carolyn Levitt pressed by a MAGA influencer in her fake briefing that she gave, but so was Kash Patel. He was recently asked about this in a Fox interview, and he gave a new piece of information that he's been saying the opposite of for many years now, and it's led to a MAGA freakout, and we see that right here.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
So for the longest time, MAGA has been saying, and Kash Patel has been saying, that Jeffrey Epstein did not, in fact, take his own life. Now, before we get into the furious MAGA reaction to Kash Patel saying this directed at both him and Donald Trump, I have to make one thing clear. I am so sick and tired of these people acting like the disgusting human being that Jeffrey Epstein was is just some fun conspiracy for them to play around with. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Donald Trump treat this like it's a joke, like it's just fodder for their base. Oh, we're going to declassify them, and then they give us this BS booklet of nothing. It is disgusting. This is a sick, evil man, a criminal who ruined more lives than we even know. And they treat it like it's a joke. They cosplay it. They think it's funny. It's not. They do not actually care about anyone who he harmed, and it is sickening every time we see them make a joke about it. I just have to say that because I don't feel like it's reiterated enough. But apparently, MAGA is feeling the same way because they are now attacking Kash Patel and Donald Trump for that interview, and we can see more right here. Traitor. FBI's Patel and Bongino infuriate MAGA fans with Fox interview. A Fox Morning Futures interview with Donald Trump's top 2 appointees to the FBI created new problems for the administration after they both stated unequivocally that Jeffrey Epstein took his own life in a jail cell while awaiting trial. You said Jeffrey Epstein took his own life. People don't believe it. Host Maria Bartiromo pressed FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in the prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know when someone takes their own life when you see it. And that's what that was, Patel replied. Bongino backed up his boss, telling the Fox host, yes, he did take his own life. Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole file, that's what he did. That did not sit well with supporters of Donald Trump, though, who have long believed there is a massive cover-up in the deep state and have been frustrated since the president's re-election that cover-up is still being maintained. On X, Bongino defended going on Fox afterwards, writing, I was asked about the details surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's case. I have reviewed the case. Jeffrey Epstein took his own life. There is no evidence in the file indicating otherwise. I'm not asking you to believe me or not. I'm telling you what exists and what doesn't. If new evidence surfaces, I'm happy to reevaluate. That did not satisfy some in MAGA world, though. Dan, I want to believe you, but according to the most experienced forensics pathologist in the world, Dr. Baden and Dr. Civil Weck, there's no doubt that Jeffrey Epstein didn't take his own life. Then the videos were off and guards asleep. Nothing to see here, just as is bull. Do better, Dan, as this definitive statement by you that Epstein took his own life is hard to reconcile with the facts that we know of, complained America for USA on X. Praying for the Trump team, advocate Snowwolf696 added. It is almost like Dan Bongino is trying to destroy what little shred of credibility the FBI may have by saying that Jeffrey Epstein didn't take his own life. I watched both of you and Kash Patel's body language today with Maria Bartiromo. I was absolutely shocked by what I saw, almost as much as I was by your answers to her questions. Who has bought the both of you? Your answers about Epstein, J6, and Crossfire Hurricane are the exact opposite of your positions over the past several years. Unbelievable, claimed Trump Forever Seahorse. Jericho, whose bio states conservative America First, contributed, it sounds like you guys have spent a lot of time building excuses than building a case, and saying that Jeffrey Epstein didn't take his own life is an insult to our intelligence, and I never thought you would do us like that. Just yesterday, I defended you and said I still trust you, but after the interview, I no longer do. You have turned your back on the people who made you, trusted and respected you, and it's devastatingly disappointing. RFK Jr. and Trump supporter Stacey E.R. wrote, oof, I trusted him until he blocked all of us for asking for help with this trafficking. Wonder if he is going to start blocking us again under his new position. Conspiracist The White Rooster suggested Bongino has changed since he abandoned his far-right podcast by writing, you definitely were more transparent when you worked by yourself. Just saying. Soldier Trumpist argued, you're a liar, Kash. Epstein didn't take his own life. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're as bad as all the other government gangsters. The entire FBI should be disbanded, and the sentiment only grows as your tyrants continue to behave like this. Traitor. So probably not the response that Kash Patel wanted, but maybe MAGA should take a singular second to do the tiniest bit of critical thinking and realize maybe these people have always been lying to you. Maybe that's what Kash Patel does. Maybe he's just a liar, as he always has been, and did in Congress. By the way, that's perjury, and we saw a great example, or a terrible, unlawful example of that when he was called out right here.
There is no legal bound against you telling us right now what you testified to.
When I asked for my transcript to be released, the
Sir,
Department
did
of
you or did you
Justice-
not commit a crime?
Senator, I did not commit a crime.
Then why won't you tell us what you testified to?
Because it occurred over the course of 3 weeks. I don't have the ability to recall everything I testified to, but I'm asking you to put my
Did you testify
transcript
to
out.
witnessing the President of the United States declassifying documents?
Senator, what I testified to is best captured by that transcript
So
in real
you're not
time.
willing to tell Congress, after making many pledges today about transparency, whether or not you testified to witnessing the President of the United States declassify documents. In the name of all the values you have said today, did you or did you not testify to witnessing the President of the United States declassify documents?
I testified accordingly and under oath, and I encourage you to get that transcript.
And by the law of our land, you are free to tell people, what are you hiding from Congress? Answer the question. Did you testify to witnessing the President of the United States declassifying documents, yes or no?
Senator, the grand jury testimony is available to you. I encourage you to make it public.
As you likely know, the second volume of Jack Smith's report about the classified document case is not public yet. To fulfill our constitutional duty of advice and consent, the President, on nominations, members of this committee have asked the DOJ to review the report. Do you agree that Congress should thoroughly review its nominees? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, last question, and I'll be done. When you and I met, you told me that you wanted to remove 11,000 FBI personnel or move many of them, and you said that again today. You have looked at an org chart to understand what offices and functions that you'll be pulling from. I don't think you've done a serious analysis, but I do think you have an assignment from Donald Trump to gut the FBI. You said yourself, I'll shut down the FBI Hoover building. There are people specifically that you are targeting, I believe. And do you agree that you have already prepared plans to remove certain individuals from their offices? For example, individuals that will be replaced by political personnel. The political personnel that are being put in an institution that you and I discussed that has no political appointees but one, the political personnel involve these names: Erica Knight, Tom Ferguson, Greg Bitzner.
The man has an enemies list. The man is doing everything he can to politicize the agency that he said was too politicized against Donald Trump. Do we really think this is a good person? I can give you the answer. Unequivocally no. And so we're going to call him out on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.